All right, today I'm talking about packing density. So, something that I've been putting together over the past few trips and as I've been repacking bags and figuring things out. At one point, when I had a 35 liter pack, I had scaled back down to a 24 liter pack because I was trying to get to a smaller pack so I could fit it in the personal item size checker at the airport. And so I got into trying to pack things as tightly as I could, get as much air out as possible. Intuitively that would make sense. The fact of the matter is that the smaller pack you get and the more you pack things down and compress things and knock out all the air, the more of a dense little nugget you have. And there's not a lot that you can do with a dense little nugget. It's like having a rock. So you got a couple packing cubes with all the air sucked out. It's like having a bag full of rocks. And then if you put those rocks in a bag that barely fits the rocks, you're just walking around with a balloon that has absolutely no give. So this time around, when I started packing for this trip, I said, fuck the 24 liter pack. I'm going to go back to a 35 liter pack, but I'm going to pack it looser. So again, when I broke a packing cube the other day and I had to replace my packing cubes, I ended up with packing cubes that are a little larger and a little looser. My old ones were waterproof, and you'd push them down and the air would stay out and they became dense little nuggets like I was talking about. These new packing cubes are like a mesh material. They keep the clothes contained and the air sort of squished out, but there's still enough room within them for the clothes to fluff around and move. There's not enough room for the clothes to expand or get filled with air, but there is enough room for the clothes to move around inside. They're not a dense little nugget. And also having 24 liters worth of clothes in a 35 liter pack and then having like 10 liters worth of clothes in a 12 liter packing cube, for example. I don't know if that's the exact measurements. I'm just trying to paint a picture for you. I've actually gotten my pack as light and like well balanced and tight as far as like how thin the pack is when it's up against my back. It's the best it's ever been, but it's not intuitive because I don't have the tight little packing cubes that suck out all the air, and I don't have the tight little 24 liter backpack. I actually have a 35 liter backpack with a little room to move around inside, and then I've got these larger packing cubes with a little bit of room to move around inside, and that is actually giving me a much more balanced and flexible packing system that will fit much more easily into your checker at the airport to see if your bag fits in the personal item spot. So it's just a packing density thing that I did want to bring up when you're looking at the Pack Hacker website or when you're trying to figure out how to pack for your trip. Don't necessarily go for the packing cubes with the little vacuum pump or the packing cubes that you have the double zipper that makes everything very dense and tight. That seems intuitively like it would be the best for packing. It gets everything in the smallest possible form factor, but it's not necessarily the best. The smallest form factor can also be the most rigid form factor. Think about, having 3 or 4 iPhones in your bag versus a laptop. A laptop has no flexibility. It's always going to, be a hard, solid wall in the back, where a few phones, say put in like a divider bag kind of thing, they would have all that flexibility. It's just an example. A balloon is smaller than a pillow, but much less pliable. Pillow could be flattened, could be rolled. So it's just something I wanted to point out when it comes to packing density. I'm finding as I get more into the one bag travel and having everything that I own in a 35 liter bag and making sure that 35 liter bag fits in the personal item checker at the airport, it's actually better to make sure that you do have packing cubes, your stuff is contained, but that you have a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of, air to breathe, room to move, flexibility within the bag and within the items in the bag. It's the same with toiletries, all my charging cables. I used to have all these hard, rigid little cases, and it's actually much better to find little pockets within the bag that all slips down into, because it gives the bag that flexible flow so that you can get it in the places you need to be able to get it when it's 2 a.m. and you're boarding a flight and they're hassling you about your bag. So, just one of them things.